It would be normal, though, to feel a little bit nervous.
Yeah, we're nervous.
Huskies, yeah.
A little nervous.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of UConn fans are. You know, it's a Big East opening, and the wars begin tonight for UConn hosting St. John's. That's out at Gamble Pavilion. And of course, that's where we find Eric McClendon standing by live. Eric?
Harvey, I tell you what, it's really strange to be opening the Big East Conference this early in the season. It's only December 8th, and here it is. St. John's and UConn almost caught me off guard. The two teams split during the regular season last year, UConn losing to St. John's in overtime during the Big East tournament. This is really a much different St. John's team. Malik Sealy, drafted in the first round last year in the NBA. He is gone along with Robert Wardan, Chucky Sproling, and Jason Buchanan. But even more noticeable, the absence of Louis Carnesecca.
Sometimes we still walk into practice and I'm looking for him, and just to realize that he's not there, I mean, it's real strange.
To help make the transition a smooth one, the Hall of Fame coach passed the torch to 16-year assistant Brian Mahoney.
It is exciting. What's nice about it is that it's not like it's a new place.
Right.
I've been there I know the people, I know the school, I got the same parking spot I've always had, you know, so I feel comfortable in that respect.
Mahoney plans on running the Redmen a lot more than in previous years, moving away from Carnesecca's half-court style. That should make for a higher-scoring game than we've seen in previous meetings between the two teams. With the faster pace, the Redmen will depend heavily on their experienced front court. Junior Chanel Scott will carry a heavy part of the load on his 6'11", 240-pound frame, teamed with Mitchell Foster, 6'9", 245, and Lamont Middleton, 6'6", 225. The Huskies will have a tough time rebounding the basketball. Middleton, a former University of Hartford player, says the Johnnies will be up for this one.
They're tough, and they play real tough up at their place. I always look forward to playing them because when they used to smack us when I was at Hartford, and it was tough, and I always wanted to beat them.
Good news for Donyell Marshall fans. He is indeed able to play tonight. He will suit up. He will wear a brace, however. Donyell really needs to get over the mental part of being out for the past couple days, but his knee is now sound. One other note for you, UConn and Georgetown will switch home and home dates because Bill Clinton needs the Cap Center in January for his inauguration. Harvey, back to you. We'll have all the highlights for you tonight on the Night Beat.
All right. Thank you very much, Eric. And, of course, Georgetown will be playing here March 7th at noon. And the Hoyas at Civic Center, that'll be January 18th at 7:30, Georgetown March 7th at noon. Now let's move on. Barry Bonds and the Giants, and finally
St. John's versus the Huskies of Connecticut. Big East basketball is brought to you by US Air. Every time we fly, everything we do, US Air begins with you. By Nationwide Insurance. Check the yellow pages for the Nationwide agent nearest you. By Right Guard Sports Stick. Anything less would be uncivilized. And by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately?
Tonight's UConn game brought to you in part by McDonald's, Pepsi, and Chase Manhattan.
Welcome, everybody, to what has traditionally been one of the loudest buildings in the Big East Conference and will no doubt live up to its reputation tonight. It's the Gamble Pavilion on the campus of the University of Connecticut at Storrs. We're here to open up the Big East season for the University of Connecticut and the Redmen of St. John's. I'm Mike Gorman along with Ron Perry. And this afternoon, Connecticut got some good news. Donyell Marshall is back, Ron.
Well, and UConn will definitely need him inside against a tall St. John's team. He practiced today. He hyperextended his left knee in the first game for UConn against Purdue. Did practice, and we'll see action tonight. Won't start, but clearly a major presence inside for the Huskies.
Donyell Marshall is a terrific basketball player, but the hopes, really, of the Huskies this season, I think, rest on the shoulders of Scott Burrell.
Well, the leader of this team is gone from last year. Chris Smith, the go-to guy, and Scott Burrell is the man. Came up huge against NC State at NC State for the Husky win. and they'll need him to score points tonight and throughout the season.
Connecticut, a tough team to beat in this building. How do you do it? Some people feel St. John's has to push the ball inside, and if they do, Chanel Scott will see it a lot.
Very tough inside. Scott off to a very good start for St. John's. Scores well in the paint there, and they'll look to dump it in there. MVP of the Lapchick tournament, a double-figure scorer.
And, of course, David Kane, now the point guard for St. John's. Jason Buchanan was forever, but David Kane now has that responsibility.
Well, he leads the team in assists, the floor general. He's got to do a good job against the UConn pressure in this one. Has to run the team. They'll look to get him the ball in the open court.
All right, should be a good one. Can Brian Mahoney stay undefeated as the coach of St. John's? We will find out real soon. Starting lineups coming up here from Gamble after these words from your local station. Well, Pavilion, everyone, here in Stores, Connecticut. And now for tonight's Nationwide Insurance starting lineups. Check the yellow pages for the nationwide agent nearest you. It just might turn out to be Alex Charts of Fairfields, Connecticut. Let's go to the public address announcer now, Roger Baker.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Harry A. Gamble Pavilion on the University of Connecticut campus and tonight's Big East college basketball matchup between the Redmen of St. John's and your University of Connecticut Huskies. Here are the starting lineups. For St. John's, a 6'5" freshman from Scarborough, Ontario, Canada, number 24, Rowan Barrett. For Connecticut, a 6'7" senior from Hamden, Connecticut, number 24, Scott Burrell. For St. John's, a 6'6" senior from the Bronx, New York, number 31, Lamont Middleton. For Connecticut, a 6'6" sophomore from Federal Way, Washington, number 33, Donnie Marshall. For St. John's, a 6'10" junior from New York City, number 42, Shawnell Scott. For Connecticut, a 6'7" freshman from Alexandria, Virginia, number 45, Eric Hayward. For St. John's, a 6' senior from the Bronx, New York, number 11, David Kane. For Connecticut, a 6'3" sophomore from Los Angeles, California, number 12, Kevin Ollie. For St. John's, a 6'3" sophomore from Elmont, New York, number 23, Derek Brown. For Connecticut, a 6'3" sophomore from Phoenix, Arizona, number 31, Brian Fair. Introducing the head coaches for St. John's, Brian Mahoney, and for Connecticut, in his 7th season at Stores, Jim Calhoun.
We are just about set to go. The Huskies and the Redmen to open up the Big East season. Back with the opening tip after these words from your local stations. In this building, this is really one of the nice facilities on the East Coast for college basketball. Here's a look at Scott Burrell, the leader of this club. Eric Hayward, the freshman, will jump it up against Chanel Scott. Of course, Terreno Walker, the senior co-captain of the Connecticut Huskies, usually at that center spot, no longer with the team. Probably won't be back this year. And the Huskies will go with the freshman, Eric Hayward. And immediately, Barrett, the freshman guard for St. John's, almost turned it over. That would have been a steal for Burrell just by staring at it.
It's got that reputation. Connecticut out in the tight man-to-man. Look for St. John's to try to dump it into Middleton or Scott.
Derek Brown forces one along the baseline and hits it.
He was a prolific scorer out of high school, and St. John's looking to get that perimeter game going in the early season.
And instead it is Brian Mahoney's team with the defense forcing the turnover. Brian, in his first year, tough act to follow, and that's an understatement. Although I know back in the city right now, Lou Carnesecca is watching this game and rooting for Brian Mahoney to continue undefeated at St. John's.
Off to a great start.
Derek Brown.
That's a nice give and go. Good look by Scott, the go-to man inside.
Husky students on their feet cheering until the first basket comes. They may be up a while here.
Redmen in their characteristic man-to-man, looking to push it a little bit more right now in the early part of the season.
Burrell forces one up, well short. Ollie steps on the baseline, and the ball will come back to St. John's.
Connecticut would really like to get something off their press, this 2-2-1. Force it up the alleys, as Jim Calhoun says, look to trap and push the ball.
Middleton unable to hit, and that's going to be a foul on the freshman Barrett over the back of Donnie Marshall.
St. John's foul number 24, Rowan Barrett, his first on the team. Connecticut substitution, Rudy Johnson, number 23.
Rudy Johnson comes in quickly to the Connecticut lineup, and Brian Fair will sit down. Connecticut trying to get a little bigger immediately against St. John's, and the Huskies get lucky there as the ball went off St. John's.
Hey, Mike, I make this point a lot. New basketball looks like it's got some grease on it in the early going.
Boston College down at the half against Temple, coming back now and up by 2 with just under 14 minutes to play. We'll keep you posted on that game tonight. Providence College also in action a little later on. Starts about 9 o'clock. We'll give you some early updates in the second half of this game on that.
He's got some great athletic moves. Showed it to us there with the quick step.
Huskies come with the pressure. Scott gets it ahead to Kane. See if Kane goes right for the hoop. He does. Middleton. Oh, blocks from behind. Rudy Johnson got there. Redmen keep control.
Quite an athletic play by Johnson. This is what you call never giving up, coming out of nowhere with the reject. Huskies showing a 2-3 zone here. We might see a little bit of this tonight. Force St. John's into the jump shot. They've only made 2 3-pointers coming into this game.
Middleton is double teamed down on the baseline. Barrett, the freshman, hits a jump shot.
Rowan Barrett.
Nice stroke there on the reverse.
Barrett and Brown with all the points for St. John's here early. 6-2 Redmen. We have played just about 2.5 minutes.
It's so important if you're St. John's to get off to a good start on the road. Very vocal crowd here.
Burrell missing the 3. One and you're done. The story for the Huskies so far as Kane comes away with the rebound. Nice look. And he gets fouled down on the baseline, but a nifty pass by David Kane.
Looks confident, doesn't he, at the point? Got a few games under his belt. Set a lap chick tournament record with 22 assists, and that's just a beautiful bullet pass. Coaches always stress, get your hands up on defense, but don't know if they could have reacted to that one.
Rudy Johnson was given the foul. That's his first. Eric Hayward goes to make that. Scott Burrell and Eric Hayward going to the bench. Brian Fair and Natambu Willingham. Well, Jim Calhoun was only half kidding, Ron, when you and I were talking with him earlier. We said, who's the starting lineup going to be? He said, well, the first 5 guys in uniform. And, 3 minutes into this game, and he's, what, 8 deep in his bench, Harry?
He's working. It's going to get a look at a lot of people to find the right chemistry, give people experience.
The sophomore guard out of Los Angeles is the point guard right now. Brian Fair looking to get down on the baseline and pops back out to the corner. Calhoun calls Fair as good a pure shooter as he's ever coached, and he's coached some good ones. Donnie Marshall double team down in the blocks. Bit of an adventure with the dribble, and that's a double dribble.
It's okay to pick it up after the ball was hit by Middleton, but can't go ahead and dribble it again. That's a double dribble.
John's handling the pressure really well, and Barrett trying to shoot it before he caught it because Middleton's pass was pretty good.
That's a plus for the press, though, right there. St. John's looks like they're going to break it easily and get an easy bucket, but they end up turning it over.
Hey, come on, bro!
Fair leaves it in the corner for Johnson. Boy, Johnson's come off the bench with big numbers. He's got all 5 of the Husky points.
He's a medical redshirt freshman, cracked a kneecap, and he looks very comfortable playing out there right now.
Had a great high school career in the state of Florida. Jim Calhoun has really taken this Husky program nationally in terms of their recruiting. You look at their roster, and they really dot the entire country.
They've really capitalized on the success that they've had with the program.
Kane forcing one out that time. Rudy Johnson's there for the rebound. This is Rudy Johnson against St. John's so far. Barrett up strong.
Again, one shot for the Huskies.
Scott for 2.
Question here, Mike, where they give him the hoop and then call the charge on Scott. That's the call.
St. John's foul number 42.
The foul isn't now, Scott, but they will count the hoop, and we're going to get a timeout. We'll be back.
Pull out. There, the basket good by Scott. Released it before contact against Rudy Johnson. So good hoop in the charge against Scott.
Jim Calhoun continues to shuffle his lineup. He has Ollie at the point now with Burrell, Johnson, Fair, and Hayward. St. John's has stayed with their starting 5. Johnson in a little trouble finds Ollie. Over the top looking for Burrell. Good double team there, Barrett and Scott. Eric Hayward, the freshman, a couple of pumps. Strong move. Eric Hayward has a big-time body, doesn't he?
He really does. Getting some quality minutes early. Rugged, strong power move.
Donyell Marshall. And you hear the reaction from the crowd.
Donyell, one of the most heralded recruits ever at UConn from Reading, PA.
First point for the freshman out of Louisiana. I don't think there's any question Donyell Marshall is going to be a great player, and I don't throw that around loosely. I'll be curious to see, though, how tentative he is first time with this brace.
Full court pressure now by the Huskies. The 1-2-1-1 all-out trap.
Donyell's not going to be able to hide out there, not in this defense. Huskies fall back into the man-to-man. Fair nearly got the steal. Burrell did. Oh, nice dribbling by Fair. No! Offensive goaltender.
Tantalizing. That just hung on the rim, and you wondered if it would roll in. Don't think it was going to. But Donyell hit it while it was still over the cylinder. Nice look by Fair. An athletic move by Burrell. Just gets it, huh?
Yeah, good call. Back live, it's Fair from behind, slapping it away from David Kane. 14:34 left to go here in the first half. And UConn has cut the St. John's lead to 3. And Sergio Luke checks into the game, and Rowan Barrett goes out.
Luke's had the jam thumb. He had been starting in the preseason, missed the first 3 games. Good perimeter shooter. Connecticut mixing some zone, and it's the 2-3.
Middleton finds Kane. Kane finds Derek Brown. Over the top, Donyell Marshall responsible for tipping that rebound away from Luke. Ollie. Marshall did a pretty good job, too, after tipping that rebound, running the floor. Down in the blocks, Marshall wants to take Middleton. He kicks it back out, pass a little behind Fair. And they're going to call Fair.
Big hop step. Big hop step that time on Fair.
Temple surging back ahead of Boston College, 58-57. Luke on the drive. Nice move.
David Kane doing a great job as St. John's is getting it to the middle against the UConn pressure, right where you want to get it to go to the hoop.
All the dish. Score the bucket for Marshall.
Nice guard play as Kevin Awley doing what David Kane has been doing for St. John's, getting the great penetration. When you do that, good things can happen offensively. Early in this game, Mike, St. John's really looking to attack pressure. They're just not trying to get it up half court and set their offense, but taking what the defense gives them.
Which I think is a subtle change, and there will be subtle changes in watching a Brian Mahoney coach team. Whereas in years past, maybe St. John's would break the pressure and then pull it back out and set up. They seem to be going for the score after breaking it.
Yet for one of the old staples, we're still seeing that solid man-to-man defense, which we've always seen.
Marshall completes the three-point play. Good look at Brian Mahoney. He has been very active on that sideline. I mean, he is a sixth man. Middleton. The Huskies swarming defensively right now. Covington Cormier in the game for the first time, and Luke rims out a three. There's the long arm of Donyell Marshall on the rebound. Cormier. Knight can hit that shot. Travis Knight, the 7-foot freshman from Utah, ties the game at 12.
That's where you tell everyone later, yep, I plan to bank that one.
Connecticut coaching staff keeps telling me what a great touch he has, that he may be 7 feet, but he likes to kind of wander around the outside and shoot perimeter jump shots. St. John's maintains possession. There's a good look at Travis Knight. And Jim Calhoun really feels he has a 10-man basketball team here, and he's going to play them all. Luke trying to dump it down inside. Mitchell Foster couldn't get a hand on it. Marshall touched it last.
Can't throw a lob pass near Donyell Marshall with the long arms. Very quick.
12 minutes, 28 seconds to go. There's another turnover. Burrell up to Ollie, gets around Kane, or Cormier rather. Covington is quick.
I'll say, got a hold of that one. The junior college transfer averaging 14 a game.
Kane right back at him as he goes over Marshall for two.
Up-tempo basketball.
David Kane responds to the challenge. We're tied at 14.
He looks very poised out there, running the show for the Johnnies.
Pretty good pass inside, and they've got Burrell for holding off with the left arm. First foul on Scott Burrell, and we've got a timeout. This game, as good as we expected, tied at 14 back after these words from our local stations. This team certainly does seem prepared as they come in here tonight. They come in at 3-0 and have acquitted themselves very well for the first 8 minutes. So saying, they turn it over.
That's a traveling call on the baseline. Can't move with the ball as St. John's tries the behind the baseline pass.
Donnie Marshall comes in. Travis Knight goes out. So it's Burrell, Donnie Marshall, Cormier, Johnson, and Ollie on the floor. You were ready, Ron. You had the hands up.
Wanted it.
You would have shot it, too, if you got it, I'm sure.
I'm ready to launch it.
Ollie come to the ball. Actually, Jim Calhoun really is experimenting with these lineups. He's got, in effect, his two best point guards on the floor at the same time.
Interesting to see with Ollie and Cormier in there, with Cormier running the show.
Donnie Marshall spins to the hoop. I'm not sure if that was intentional. If it was one of the better passes of the night. I think it went through Mitchell Foster's legs, didn't it?
I think it was an accidental bounce pass with a little help.
Mitchell Foster picks up the foul, his first. 5 team fouls on St. John's and only 2 called on Connecticut. Kevin Ollie now goes out. Brian Fair, Chanel Scott and Mitchell Foster exchange spots. Rudy Johnson really got the Huskies back into this game early after St. John's jumped out very quickly. Johnson came off the bench to score 5 points. He now has 6.
Jim Calhoun looking for players to emerge. Clearly Johnson in the early going. Real spark for the Huskies.
Ball kept alive and tracked down by Johnson. Boy, he's having one of those nights where he's in the right spot at the right time. I think they've got Brian Fair setting a screen.
Yeah, a little bit of movement. Trying to do the up screen that time. You've got to just set the screen and let your teammate run the defensive player into you. You can't move.
Again, the Huskies come with the pressure. Derek Brown just gets it into Luke and then gets it back. Now David Kane has set it up. Cormier awaits him at half court. Minlin touching it for the first time. Rudy Johnson aggressively up on him. There's a block by Burrell. Kane picks it off. Derek Brown fakes the 3. Luke makes the 2.
That gives St. John's a lift. Luke, good perimeter shooter, back in the lineup tonight.
Redmen by 1. Just about halfway through what has been a good first half.
Yeah, a lot of action. Both teams looking to push and go at each other.
Brian Fair, that was a rock.
Rush that one.
Kane again, good dish inside. Minlin for 2.
Good-looking freshman Minlin, very strong.
Derek Brown takes down the missed 3. And again, the Redmen continue to look to run.
Minlin prepped a year at St. Thomas More in Connecticut. Very high on him at St. John's. He's off to a terrific start.
He sure is. He nearly got caught moving on that screen, too. Double team from Cormier. Inside Minlin. Good block by Rudy Johnson.
Jump ball situation. All ball. Watch this one. Maybe a little bit of body, but there's Rudy again.
Hey, Rudy is having a night, isn't he? Huskies get it on the alternating possession. 18-15, Redmen by 3.
The thing you like about him is in the action, both ends of the floor. Connecticut with a double stack offense against the man this time.
Luke is out on Burrell. Donnie Marshall leads in a lot of traffic. And the ball was tipped out of bounds. I'm glad that was tipped. But otherwise, that would have been a tough shot to explain. Temple, a 5-point lead on Boston College with 3.5 to go in the game. Johnson.
Got it going.
David King calls a set play. Redmen up by 1.
St. John's has done a nice job against pressure, taking advantage when they have the break, otherwise setting up with Kane.
Last off the foot of Rudy Johnson. 22 seconds on the shot clock as Jim Calhoun calls the defense.
And UConn plays a lot of different defenses. The zone this time, like the job Kane's doing to dish that ball inside in this one.
And looked inside briefly at Minlin. Well, they find him down on the baseline, and he stepped on it as he went to try to get to the other side of the basket. Huskies a chance to grab the lead back here. Cormier, nice little behind the back move, and a great dish to Marshall.
He's a penetrator. Scott's been quiet. He's got just 2 points, and see if they can find him inside. Very strong in there, a scorer.
Haywood and Marshall both. Donnie Marshall, as Kane misses the jumper, goes after his own rebound, and Burrell picks up a bad foul over the back of Kane. I was starting to say, though, that both Donnie Marshall and Haywood have done a nice job of denying the spot to Scott. Scott's not getting to where he wants to get him.
Yeah, they're taking it away, fronting, and getting good weak side help, closing off the passing lane.
Second foul on Burrell. Lamont Middleton is back into the St. John's lineup, and Minland sits down. So it's Scott, Lyson, Middleton, Lee Green, and Kane on the floor right now.
His zone is squeezing off some inside passes. Middleton hasn't scored yet, and he had 22 in a 9-for-9 effort from the field against Niagara.
And there's a turnover caused by the Husky defense. Haywood comes up with the loose ball. Cormier gets it ahead to Darnell Marshall. A skip back to Haywood. Haywood with some room. And he got fouled, taking it strong to the bucket.
I'll say it was strong. Did he have dunk on his mind?
He did.
I mean, he made his mind up right about here. Boom, he's going for it. Middleton does what he can to say, hey, you're going to at least earn it from the foul line.
Two team fouls on Lamont Middleton, and the freshman will step to the line. Haywood's already made a couple free throws tonight as Middleton goes to the St. John's bench.
Coaching adjustments this year too, Mike, with the 5 fouls. 2 fouls, you got to be certainly more careful and protective with your players in the first half. 6 fouls, you can give them another one in the first half, but with the 5, we'll see more players getting a rest with 2.
Still a ways to go here in this first half, too. 7:52. Haywood almost a second. We've got a timeout. The Huskies have got themselves a 2-point lead. 8 minutes to play here in the first half, and the Huskies of Connecticut have gone up by 2, 20-18. A schedule change for the Huskies here. Originally, they were set to be at Georgetown on the 18th and then back here at the Hartford Civic Center on March 7th. Well, what has happened is they've reversed those dates, the reason being that the Cap Center will be filled by President-elect Bill Clinton and his friends on that first date. So on your schedules, just reverse those dates. Both games will be on national television. We got 2 whistles immediately, then the officials looked at each other. I think it's Rudy Johnson that's going to end up with the foul. Nope, Brian Fair.
The 5th team foul.
Green looking inside. They want to get the ball in Scott's hands. Here's Midland back in. The travel is called.
Connecticut continues to do a good job to deny Scott the basketball. Only touched it a few times offensively in this first half.
Scott and Middleton have combined for only 2 points. They average 30 a game, yet the Redmen are right there. There's a nice pick by David Kane on Cormier. Oh, Cormier got back defensively and then committed the foul.
I thought Kane was going to drop that one. Had Minland on his right shoulder. They were awfully close to each other. A nice strip right there. Too much dribbling close to Kane, who's low to the ground. Thought he might drop it, but nice recovery by Cup, as they call Covington Cormier.
He can get up there, too. He's got the best vertical leap on this team.
Say 41 inches. That's getting up there.
Oh, a nice jump shot from the corner by Lyson.
Along with Luke, perimeter threats for the Johnnies.
Ties the game at 20.
It's like a matchup this time by St. John's. 2-3.
Cormier sticks for Danielle Marshall. Second time that Covington Cormier has gone into the lane and then found someone for the dunk.
Really created on that one with the penetration.
Rudy Johnson will pick up that foul, his second.
Beautiful penetrating move by Cormier. The left-hander with the nice dish.
St. John's in the bonus. Donnie Marshall, 33.
Got to play off Cormier, just looking at him play defensively, force him to take the J because he can really get by people.
Huskies are now over the limit, so Charles Minland will be at the free throw line. He hasn't made a free throw yet this year. Hasn't been to the line this year.
He's from Cameroon, Africa. All-star team in the Leipzig tournament, so opened up with a bang for St. John's.
Good form at the line. He's got 4 off the bench, and we're tied at 22.
Pressure now by St. John's, again looking to up-tempo it more this year.
Danielle Marshall, oh, Minland got there, and he liked that one.
He did enjoy that. 5th row action. One thing about those blocks, it sends a message, but Connecticut will retain possession. Got all ball, really caught it, and enjoyed it.
He was looking for Amy. He would have come over and given us a high five if we had our hands up there. And now Minland is called with a foul, trying to get position with Danielle Marshall.
A little freshman enthusiasm with the follow-up foul.
St. John's foul, number 34, Charles Minland.
That'll put Danielle Marshall at the free throw line. Team fouls even now. It's 7 apiece here in the first half. 6:29 still to play.
Interesting half. Contributions from a lot of people, and Chanel Scott with just 2 points for St. John's, and Scott Burrell checking in, hasn't scored yet in the half.
So we talked about Burrell off the top. He hasn't scored. We talked about Chanel Scott off the top. He's got 2. These kids won't want us to talk about anybody off the top here. Talk about the coaches, they'll say.
They will be the go-to guys for both teams, but quiet so far in this first half. Connecticut with the 2-2-1 pressure, trying to push St. John's up the sides. St. John's been effective getting into the middle.
Minland for 2.
Now that's a distinct difference this year. St. John's looking to attack with the advantage against pressure.
With Donnie Marshall, the dump for Ollie. Burrell trying to find an opening, he can't. Ollie, tough straights down there. Burrell can't get it down, and Minland's up big for the rebound. St. John's done a great job on the glass.
They really have. It's been one shot for UConn each time, and Burrell just looking to break the ice. Nice pass.
Here's Scott. There's a foul on Donnie Marshall down low.
Good foul by Marshall. Looked like that was Dunk City for Chanel.
24 apiece, 5:41 to play here in the first half. Mike Gorman along with Ron Perry as Rudy Johnson checks back into the game, and Burrell sits down. Burrell having a tough time tonight getting any rhythm, talking it over with Jim Calhoun.
Getting on him more, I think, there on the defense, and saying to Scott, let the offense come to you. Get into the flow. Don't force it. It'll be there for you.
Jim Calhoun likes this basketball team that he has, likes the depth. They are quicker than they were a year ago. Eric Haywood fighting down low with Minland, powers it up.
He wanted the ball that time. Minland, I think he wanted the offensive. He's got to hold his ground.
Can't wait to see Eric Haywood and Jerry Walker in the ring.
Some bodies colliding.
Put Luther right in between the two. There'll be no room at all as Scott gets to.
Connecticut not adjusting to the swing of the basketball as Scott open again inside.
5 minutes now, straight up to go here first half. Both of these teams done a great job tracking the other team's scorers. It's going to be a travel on Brian Fair. Fair came in averaging 16 points a game. He hasn't scored. Burrell came in averaging 17 a game. He hasn't scored.
And they really haven't had a lot of shot opportunities. That's a backcourt. Oh, it looked like he jumped from the backcourt on that one.
Maurice Brown, the freshman point guard, in now to give David Kane a rest. Had a couple of high school all-star games last year that Maurice Brown was in. He's not shy. He looks for his shot. He's a good point guard, but he looks for his shot too.
Brooklyn.
Hayward, the nice hustle play there to knock it out of bounds. And Tambu Willingham checks back in, and Eric Hayward. And with 40 seconds to go, Boston College needs a couple of quick threes as they trail Temple by 6.
Here's Gerard Abram, ready to crank it up maybe.
Scott coming alive now. 6 points for Chanel Scott. St. John's opens up a 3-point lead. Rudy Johnson trying to make something happen on the baseline. It's an offensive foul. And that'll be 3 on Rudy Johnson, who has played so well tonight. Jim Calhoun is not at all happy with this call.
Nice hesitation move there by Johnson. Kane steps in. Could have gone, Mike, without a call there. Johnson reacting. Kind of a touch offensive foul. He shifted his body at the last minute to really avoid knocking Kane down.
Minland, he's trapped. He's the backcourt. That's exactly where Connecticut wants to get the basketball. We're going to get a timeout. 3:51 to go here first half. Redmond by 3. Calhoun may use this clip right here when he's teaching the press.
Just over midcourt. Minland in the trap. Marshall and Ollie, look at the hands up, and then the step back to backcourt. That's perfect execution with the press.
Using the sideline and the half-court line, really in effect as another man.
Pin the man right in there, nowhere to go.
Ollie finds an open Fair. Still can't find the range. Marshall over everyone and then partially blocked. Connecticut fans and the Connecticut bench looking for a foul. And there's a traveling violation on Minland. Have 17 turnovers already in this first half.
Evenly distributed between the two teams.
Marshall skips it. Fair will try again. Up big, Derek Brown for the rebound.
Bryant's just not in sync right now. He had a couple of big threes against NC State. Needs to get one along with Burrell to drop.
Burrell remains on the Connecticut bench. A nice hustle by Donnie Marshall to come up with that turnover. Ollie ahead, and Tambu Willingham wants no part of the dribble, and then Ollie takes it in for 2.
Nice recovery. You don't want to give it to your big center in the open court, but a good job by Boo to get it back to Ollie.
29-28. St. John's by 1.
1-3-1 now by the Huskies. Really mixing up the defenses.
Minland's count it and a foul. I thought he waited too long, but Minland instead gets a chance for the 3-point play. And Minland is an enthusiastic guy, isn't he?
Really is. He's got 8 points. He plays with all kinds of life out there as Temple upends BC tonight.
Brian Fair picks up his 3rd personal foul, so again with only 5 fouls, these coaches are going to have to use their benches. Minland, the freshman, with 9 to lead all scorers in the game. Willingham and Fair sit down. Travis Knight has come in. Covington Cormier.
St. John's 2-3. It looks like a 1-1-3 matchup zone. new look defense.
Ollie the skip to Marshall, who'll shoot it. Knight couldn't get the rebound over the back, and Minlin was really a factor in his first Big East game. Lyson. There's Minlin. He was on the baseline, but he took that rebound away from Donnie Marshall and Ollie.
Connecticut players there, Marshall and Ollie, really taking it away from themselves, colliding in midair.
Under 2 minutes now to play here in the first half. Air ball from the corner by Cormier, saved by Lyson into Kane.
Not much of a chance for a rebound there.
Derek Brown the misses. Both teams have gone cold. Knight the rebound. Here comes Covington on the break to Donyell Marshall. Nice move.
That was not an easy shot. He made it look easy.
That sure wasn't.
He looks good, looks comfortable with that hyperextended left knee. Running well.
Donyell now with 9.
See how his stamina is in this game, but he looks good right now. St. John's attacking the 1-3-1 defense with a 2-3 set, trying to get it to the corners and then dump it down.
Scott looks and finds Lyson on the baseline, then he can't convert. Another rebound for Knight. He hangs tough and gets it out to Ollie. Here come the Huskies. Ollie spins. Ollie!
Oh! Acrobatic.
Ollie ties the game at 32.
Connecticut looks better when they can get those transition baskets.
Redmen look for the final shot.
See if they can get it to Scott.
Kane looks like he wants to do it himself. Nice move with the dribble, and he found Scott. Donnie Marshall had to give the foul. Terrific job by David Kane.
4.6 seconds left. That's plenty of time for Connecticut to penetrate down court. It's enough time to dribble down and get a shot. Great penetration by Kane.
Here's what's coming up at halftime. A look ahead at all the Big East teams, as well as some Big East news and stats and highlights from the first half, all coming your way here at halftime. We are tied at 32. Brian Fair comes in, three-point shooter, with 4.6 seconds to go, and St. John's at the free throw line.
So important, Mike, to have a good quarterback out there that can get it to people like Chanel Scott. Kane's done it, and we've seen Cormier and Ollie doing it for the Huskies. Got to push it now on the rebound.
Chanel tries to keep a straight face. The follow.
Big rebound.
Ollie can't get it off in time. What a first half for the freshman Charles Minlin, who comes off the St. John's bench to get 11 points. And Brian Mahoney's team heads for the locker room, up by 2. 34-32. We'll be back after these words from our local stations.
Savit Jewelers on.
Second half of Big East basketball is brought to you. Look at some numbers from that first half. St. John's holding on to the 34-32 halftime lead. The Redmen shooting 52% against 26%, 46% rather, for the Huskies. Free throws just about even.
Those pretty even numbers in a two-point game. Connecticut more from the perimeter. St. John's inside.
Huskies continue to struggle from outside the three-point line. St. John's doesn't take many three-pointers, as you can see. They're only making about 15% coming in. Turnovers, surprisingly, I thought St. John's was taking better care of the basketball tonight, actually.
Yeah, they were a couple of spurts by Connecticut. They kept the press on the whole half, although pretty even in the points off turnovers. In Connecticut's favor, a couple of penetrating moves by Ollie and Cormier.
Okay, we're going to see Cormier hit nicely with the dish for Donyell Marshall.
Yeah, you can't rush at him as Kane did there. He just gets the step in a beautiful dish to Donyell Marshall, who looked good in the first half.
The story for Brian Mahoney's Redmen off the bench. Charles Minlin, the freshman, as Bill Raftery would say, showing it all.
Really got it going and played with all kinds of enthusiasm in the first half. Rejection there on Donyell Marshall's shot. He also chipped in with 11 first half points. He was everywhere. Kane doing a good job from the point. Here's Minland with a couple of those points, scoring inside.
Taking it strong to the basket, 11 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 block shots for the freshman off the bench. Quick look at St. John's scoring. 11 from Minland, and Scott following up with 7 on the other side for the Connecticut Huskies. Donyell Marshall with 9, Johnson off the bench with 8, and Haywood with 5. The names of Burrell and Fair are obviously missing. We're just about set to go here in the second half. Lamont Middleton, Derek Brown, David Kane, Chanel Scott, and Rowan Barrett will start the second half for Brian Mahoney. Kevin Ollie out aggressively along with Brian Fair, who's on Derek Brown as the Huskies come out man-to-man. And Donnie Marshall might have got away with that one, except he grabbed Lamont Middleton at the last minute. I don't think Middleton was going to get to that pass anyway.
I don't either. At the last minute, he hooked him. There was a lot of pressure going toward the foul line.
That's the third on Donnie Marshall, and he gives the Redmen a fresh 45 seconds on the shot clock. Just underway here, second half. If he just came in, St. John's up by 2. Barrett is open top of the key. And he, oops, in and out. Marshall battling for the rebound, out of bounds, and it's coming back to the Huskies.
Good job by Ted Valentine that time, hustling for the call.
It's Fair, who's looking to get untracked, along with Burrell, who's down on the baseline with the freshman covering. Now he comes around the screen inside Donnie Marshall, right back to Burrell. Still not in the book to rebound to Kane.
Just got to stay with it.
And Kevin Ollie is called with a foul in the backcourt.
I used to find on a night, Mike, when it wasn't dropping down, never had the leaping skills of a Scott Burrell, but try to get it to the goal if you get a couple rattling in and out. Get yourself to the line just to get on the board. Same thing for Brian Fair.
Burrell is 0 for 6. Scott down in the blocks. Little fall away in and out. Tipped. Middleton, that's what he does best, and he got fouled. Lamont Middleton, who was also held scoreless in the first half, going back to his basic game, which is offensive rebounding and powering it back up.
And he's off to such a fine offensive start for St. John's, trying to get himself on the board as well.
Eric Haywood picked up the foul, his first, but that is the third already in 1 minute and 10 seconds on the Huskies here in this second half. Donnie Marshall goes to the bench, and Donyell checks back in. Middleton will get a couple at the line. Middleton, who was 9 for 9 against Niagara on Saturday. Some nights you're 9 for 9, and some nights you wish you didn't come.
The ball seems like it's inflated a lot to me, Mike. A new ball, it's rattling in and out. He used to insist on one more broken in than that. Both teams opening up man-to-man. Going to try to get some penetration.
Fair pops out. Looks inside for Donyell Marshall. Burrell, the little screen. Burrell trying to get by the freshman. Barrett does and gets fouled. Nice call, Ron.
Gets himself to the line. Now if he can get himself a point or two here from the line, get yourself going. All of a sudden the points can come in bunches.
Derek Brown picked up the foul, his second. And Burrell, who's had a good season to this point at the free throw line, will get a couple.
He missed a lot of the preseason with tendinitis in the left knee. He's got a slight wrap, which we talked to him about, to try to take pressure off the soreness below the left kneecap. Really came on strong at NC State, and as we talked about, they need points from him this year. He's really got to be the guy that gets the ball and puts the points up.
Not only is he 0 for 6 in the field, but he has no rebounds tonight. for 2.
Got to stop that penetration. Great job, though, by Kane.
David Kane only has 4 points, but he has had a heck of a game out here tonight for St. John. 18 minutes now to go in the game. Redmen by 2. Burrell again looking to take it strong. Gives it up to Ollie. Ollie, little run. 6 for Ollie. And both teams continue to get points from unusual places.
Best part for Connecticut when they score, it allows them to set up the full court pressure.
Middleton into Scott and out of bounds. Thought they were going to call a foul on Burrell on the reach. Instead, the ball will just go back to St. John's. Burrell was averaging 5 steals a game, too, coming into tonight. Barrett, long with the 3. Here's the long arm of Danielle Marshall on the rebound. Gets it ahead to Ollie. Fair, fakes it, takes it, fakes it.
Now, Burrell and Fair, both in the box score now.
UConn by 2. Middleton a little trouble getting the hand.
Connecticut more success scoring in transition in this one.
Scott down low, blocked. Out of bounds. Eric Hayward got there.
Nice recovery. Good-looking freshman Hayward. Look at the up fake by Scott.
Oops, he was on the rim there, wasn't he?
Might have been. I think that ball got caught on the rim, too, though, by Scott as he lost control going up.
Middleton, nice dish in. Danielle Marshall the block, but Scott follows it up, and he's got 9. Fair. Now. Rebound. Foul is called on Burrell. Number 3 on Burrell. I never saw that one, I must admit.
Looked like he had the ball, then contact.
Burrell will sit down. Rudy Johnson, who did such a great job for the Huskies, comes in. Looking to trap Kane. They get it up to Middleton, who's been open in that spot each time against the press. Inside Scott for 2.
That's nice execution against pressure. Get it down. Very high percentage shot for 2.
Chanel Scott in double figures with 11. He and Midland lead the Redmen in scoring. St. John's leads by 2.
That's why coaches say if you pass it against pressure, you can get what you want. That was an illustration.
Hayward has a pretty good spot down there. Gets the bounce on the fall away.
I like the fact that he wants the ball down low.
And if a guy fights that hard to get the spot, you got to get it to him.
Oh, yeah.
He's not going to fight that hard next time if you don't.
Right.
Middleton with the left hand. Middleton. And he's fouled.
A great job of up-faking there and staying with it. Brian Mahoney really enjoying that one.
Brian Mahoney really pleased with the enthusiasm, I think, with which his kids are playing.
A lot of intensity. He's already got a good come from behind win on the road at Niagara. Down by 16. He's got his kids playing hard.
The Rudy Johnson, who just came in, now has to take a seat on the bench with his 4th personal foul. And Scott Burrell is back in. The Huskies have had 5 team fouls called on them in just about 4 minutes of action here in the second half. And Middleton's 0 for 3 at the free throw line. You got a game like Lamont's, which is offensive rebounding and fighting down there in the blocks. You should be, or you better be a good free throw shooter, because you're going to get a lot of opportunities. Middleton, his first point of the night, and we've got a timeout with 15:53 to go in the game. St. John's is up by 1. Just under 16 minutes to go in the game. Maybe some things have changed at St. John's, but then again, Ron, maybe some things haven't.
Reminiscent. Sport coat instead of a sweater.
Yeah. He's got those kind of twists of the body and gets into it.
Talked about his players being enthusiastic. Brian gets a few votes for that on the sideline.
He is really active if you watch top of the screen when his team goes by. He's like the 6th man. Burrell double team.
Zone look by St. John's this time. We've seen it, the 2-3 matchup. Back to a man-to-man.
Kane continues to do a good job tagging Brian Fair. Burrell comes up shooting. Rebound to Middleton. He's starting to assert himself a bit here in the second half. Long lead pass, and Scott can't corral it.
Coaches refer to that as the home run ball. Don't go for it unless you're really sure it's going to work.
For Donyell Marshall being fronted by Middleton. Fair continues to put him up. Donyell Marshall stripped by Derek Brown, but it comes right to Fair. Still 40 seconds on the shot clock.
Long shots, long rebounds. This should be a good matchup for Burrell. He's got the quickness against Luke.
Middleton again with the and he nearly saved it. Here comes Mitchell Foster into the game for Chanel Scott. But Lamont Middleton, whose name we did not call much in the first half, is suddenly all over the place.
Connecticut substitution, Travis Knight.
Travis Knight's going to come in for the Huskies. Eric Hayward goes out.
Give it another minute or two before we see Minland for St. John's and Cormier for Connecticut. A lot of players in and out of this one.
Brian Fair still can't get it down. That's tipped out of bounds, and it'll still be Husky ball. Mitchell Foster got the last hand on that one.
Fair getting the openings. 0 for 5 from three-point land, but the stroke there, the shot just not going down right now. Last two shots were right on the rim.
Bullet pass, Marshall underneath. Donyell for two. And that was good to see because Lamont Middleton had a handful of Donyell Marshall's shirt for about 20 seconds there. He just wouldn't let Donyell go anywhere. The officials didn't see it. Pretty good trap right in front of us. An offensive foul, Lamont Middleton. Here's Burrell, you see, with the quick hands, and that's when Derek Brown might have been out of bounds right there.
Looked like the foot with a toe hit it. Middleton, 10 pounds heavier, although 6 inches shorter than Knight. Charging away.
He moved, Travis. He did. Minland, and Ollie turns it over right in front of his own bench. Minland now is going to check into the game for St. John's, and Luke will go out.
Also for the Redmen, Fred Lyson.
Fred Lyson is also into the game. The turnovers continue to pile up. So it's Foster, Lyson, Minland, Kane, and Brown on the floor for St. John's.
2-3 zone. Look for Lyson or Brown from the perimeter.
Mitchell Foster just lost it on the way up. Burrell comes down with it. Donyell Marshall. That's well short.
A new ball syndrome again, maybe?
Well, that one never had a chance from the time it left his hand. Lyson. Rebound to Fair. Huskies have got big-time numbers here. No whistle. Donyell Marshall gets fouled from behind, and there were 3 players on the court.
Not a pretty fast break. It developed well, but right there, you've got to get the bounce pass. Lyson gets a hand on it. Bodies everywhere. And finally, the foul.
It was Minland over the back of Donyell Marshall.
Point guard, you really want to try to pull up at the foul line if you can there. Otherwise, you get that big cluster, no bounce pass, and just a lot of congestion. Got to keep your lanes, keep the spacing, and then go back to the fundamentals there.
2 shots, man.
Donyell Marshall now with a dozen. Leads all Connecticut scorers. Brian Mahoney looking on. His club down 2 now with 13:20 to go in the game. Huskies come in at 1-1 on the season. St. John's 3-0. First Big East game for both clubs. Now Scott checks back in for St. John's, and Covington Cormier comes in for the Huskies. Jim Calhoun exhorting his troops. Here's Kane. Gets around Marshall. Kane all the way. Minland. Can't do that.
The old up and down play. Whoops. I left my feet.
Yeah.
That time Kane penetrates and no one's with him.
Charles knew he couldn't come down, so he was just kind of hoping a dribble might make up for it there in the middle.
Let go of it.
This, I believe, matches the biggest lead the Huskies have had. 3 over the top. Danielle, the 2.
Nice alley-oop by Burrell. Just threw it up there and let Marshall go get it.
15 now for Danielle Marshall. Kane trying to avoid that spot. Skips it into the forecourt. Scott to Lyson. Lyson takes it for 2.
You get the ball to the middle against pressure. Scott that time can lead to easy ones.
There's Kane coming up with the steal. Ahead, Midland. And they've got a foul on Covington Cormier from behind.
Cormier trying to make up for the mistake. Not a good time to foul as Minland clearly had the step and the beat on him. Knight getting in the act there a little bit too tight. Minland's got this one. Unless you really feel you can take it away, don't give him a chance for a three-point play.
Second foul on Covington. Minland 5 of 6 from the field and 4 from the free throw line. He came in shooting 63% from the field and 100% at the free throw line.
Keeping the numbers right up there. He's taking them up.
So what's this Division I college basketball? Huh? He said this was hard. Here's Burrell. Good bounce pass. Danielle Marshall. Chanel Scott gives the foul.
Both teams attacking pressure in this one.
That's a second on Scott. 4th on the team. The Huskies have been at 6 for a while after committing 4 fouls in the first 5 minutes of this half. Danielle continues perfect at the line. Jim Calhoun and his staff have to be happy to see him come back so strong tonight.
It's questionable pregame how many minutes he'd play, but he clearly looks very good out there. The question of would he be tentative, I think, has been answered. The answer is no. Very strong outing.
Donnie Marshall comes in. Danielle will get a rest, goes to the bench with 17. And his Huskies up by 2. Connecticut again comes with full court pressure, but this has not bothered St. John's a whole lot tonight. Lyson gets it back in the hands of Kane. Derek Brown spinning his way into the forecourt. Nice bounce pass, and Lyson and a tip in by Scott. Burrell still trying to get on track. Kevin Olive streaks to the hole and misses the layup. Does a great job, though.
And we talked about his leaping ability, just knifes it through there. One of the few offensive rebound follow-throughs for Connecticut tonight.
Lyson to an open Scott. Good look by the freshman.
Some good up pressure by both teams with the full court press. Seems like there are great openings, though, at the other end if you stay with it.
I was just going to say, they make you pay. Hate the miss. Donnie Marshall is going to be called for pushing off in the rebounding action. That'll be his 4th foul.
Bonus.
And we are going to get a timeout. We've got 11:18 left to go in this game. I think we're going to be shooting some free throws. Let's see.
The 17th foul.
Nope, we've got a break. Timeout. 11:18 to go. We are tied at 50. And we'll be back after these words from our local stations. It's 18 seconds to go here at the Gampo Pavilion. And a quick reminder, this copyrighted telecast is produced by authority of the Big East Conference and is intended solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Big East Conference is prohibited. Donyell Marshall comes back in along with the freshman Eric Hayward. Scott Burrell fills out the front line for Connecticut. Ollie and Cormier in the backcourt. At the free throw line is Lamont Middleton. He's out there with Brown, Scott, Kane, and Lyson. And Lamont is struggling at the line tonight.
1 for 5. Those front ends of one-on-ones really hurt, too.
A 3 for Burrell. And that's the lead.
It's a 2.
A 2?
I think Ted Valentine moved it to a 2. They talked it over. He had his foot on the line, maybe.
Long lead pass, Middleton. Marshall can't get there. Ties it at 52.
Where it helps to have 3 officials where you can get some of that teamwork, different angles. See if it opens up for Burrell now after getting one to drop.
Burrell well short with that. Follow by Hayward. 9 for the freshman. Halfway through the second half, Huskies by 2.
2-3 zone by Connecticut. See if the jumper's there. They're trying to collapse inside now on Middleton and Scott.
Brown had trouble getting the handle down there. Got Brian Mahoney up off the bench. Brown comes up shooting. Lyson up big for the rebound. Loose on the floor. Scott for 2.
Give credit to Lyson for keeping that one alive on the weak side.
Cormier got lucky as that one went off his sneaker to Burrell, who comes up lame. I'm not sure if someone stepped on Burrell's sneaker. Apparently Scott's going to stay in the game. Maybe he's not. Donnie Marshall runs to the scorer's table.
Substitution, Donnie Marshall.
Burrell appears to be all right, but he'll go to the bench.
Substitution.
And now Lee Green is going to check in for St. John's, and Derek Brown sits down.
Derek Brown.
Burrell flexing the right knee, having that looked at on the bench. Looks like he banged it.
Donnie Marshall,
nice
Hayward
pass.
inside. There, counted the foul.
Might have gotten it to him a little late, but it still worked.
Scott the foul.
St. John's foul number 42.
Here's a look at what happened to Scott Burrell, and it appears.
Oh yeah, right there.
Right
Bang.
there, they bang knees.
That's painful, right on the kneecaps.
This is a bit of a coming out party for Eric Hayward here tonight. He's 4 for 4 from the field and 3 for 4 at the line. 6'7", 245 from Alexandria, Louisiana. And he's having his best offensive night of the year, averaging 1 point a game coming in. He's got a dozen.
So much of it freshman year is just getting minutes and getting the confidence.
Great block by Hayward. Cormier dribbling out of the pack. Skip pass. Ollie leaves it for Hayward. Cormier the follow. No, and they've got Donyell Marshall over the back in the rebounding action. That was a big trip for Connecticut. They could have pushed it up to 5, which in this game would be a huge lead.
Look at this block by Hayward. Just a great job as Lyson hangs up there, but Hayward both ends.
Stayed right in there. It's just the first foul on Donyell Marshall. Mitchell Foster will step to the free throw line. Free throw shooting is going to be huge in this game the rest of the way. First point for Mitchell Foster tonight. Scott Burrell, apparently all right, comes back in. Donnie Marshall goes to the Husky bench. 9 minutes, 16 seconds left to go. 57-55 UConn. Foster makes them both. Cormier was looking over at the Husky bench looking for a signal. I'm not sure he got one from the coaching staff. Cormier drives baseline, short with the layup. Rebound, Hayward puts it back up long. Loose underneath, out of bounds. Last to touch it was Cormier.
Real battle underneath. Middleton right there for St. John's. Back to the half-court D now by Connecticut. They're going more and more to the zone, trying to force the jumper to get rebounding position.
Redmond a chance to grab the lead back. Green and Kane are the guards right now for Brian Mahoney's club. Lyson seeing some big minutes here in this second half. Here comes Brian Fair back in. Cormier will sit down. And Rudy Johnson is going to come in with 4 fouls, and Donyell Marshall will get a rest, but I don't imagine Donyell Marshall will be out for long. Probably look for him around the 5-minute mark.
Has not practiced much lately. Trying to save some strength for him down the stretch.
Lee Green with the jump step.
Without Scott in the pivot right now, someone has to step up and look for it.
David Kane. Kane, the dribble drive, great dish. Hayward got a piece of that shot. But hanging with it is Lamont Middleton.
Finding a way in the paint.
58-57 St. John. With the move on Lyson, and Lyson is called for the foul, no basket. Covington Cormier checks right back in for Connecticut, and Kevin Ollie goes to the bench. And Natambu Willingham will come in. Eric Haywood will go out, and we'll go out too. We're going to take a break at 58-57 St. John's. Back after these words from our local stations. Mike Orman, Ron Perry back out here at the Gamble Pavilion on the campus of the University of Connecticut at Storrs, and it's 58-57 St. John's by 1 with 7:36 to go on our Ford scoreboard. Providence has a 7-point lead over URI in the battle for bragging rights in Rhode Island. It is Kane, Foster, Middleton, Luke, and Lee Green on the floor right now for St. John's. And Cormier, Willingham, Rudy Johnson, Scott Burrell, and Brian Fair are out there for the Huskies of Connecticut. Burrell coming along the baseline. Quick shot is short.
That was a tough shot, fading away from three-point land.
Burrell just 1 for 10 in this game.
We've seen him on nights where that goes down, but tonight it hasn't been there for him.
Luke can't get the basket. Burrell up big for the rebound. Cormier looks inside, tipped away by Foster, trying to get it into Willingham down in the blocks. And Chanel Scott and Derek Brown will check back in quickly for St. John's. Foster and Green will sit down. And now Danielle Marshall comes back in for the Connecticut Huskies. And Boo Willingham back to the bench. 6 minutes, 49 seconds to go. Here's Burrell. Couple of fakes.
Nice job to draw that one and just let it go so you get 2 shots. Making the basket's a bonus. Taking the tough shot here. There'll be a lot of Burrell down the stretch. Gets Luke in the air. Wants the 2 shots. Great concentration.
Thank you, 31. Thank you.
The line for the Huskies, Scott Burrell, 1 free throw.
Points for Burrell now, all in the second half, gives the Huskies a 2-point lead. St. John's walking the ball now. Last 4 or 5 possessions, Ron. That surprise you, then?
Well, the way the game has gone, it does surprise me, but in a tight game down the stretch, I think we're going to see more half-court action. There's a tendency to get more careful when you're in this kind of a game.
Kane back to Luke. 15 on the shot clock. This might be the longest that anyone's held a basketball in
I think so.
The last 50 possessions. Luke missing outside. Brian Fair and Middleton battle. Middleton saves it, but then Fair comes up with it. And I think they've got a foul on Middleton. It'll be 4.
St. John's foul, number 41, Lamont Middleton. That's his 4th personal, actually 8 on the team.
John Clougherty with the call, and Brian Mahoney had a real chance, as it was right in front of his bench, to chat with John about that one.
Good hustle by Middleton on the ground, crawling that time for the ball, reaching in. Brian thought a good hustle play.
Minland is back in the game. Well, this has been a night Brian Fair would just as soon forget. Marshall lost it on the way up, but Burrell came down with it. And the Huskies will reset up by 2 with just under 6 minutes to go. Danielle Marshall.
Both teams have struggled to score out of the half-court set.
Brian Fair finds an open Danielle Marshall. 19 points for Danielle.
The penetration, find the open shooter, made it look easy.
4-point Husky lead, and St. John's is going to take a timeout. 5 minutes, 28 seconds left to go here at Gamble. The students are back in it, and the Huskies are up 4. 8 seconds left to play here at the Gamble Pavilion, and the Connecticut Huskies have themselves, at this point, a 4-point lead. 17 points for Chanel Scott. Danielle Marshall coming back strong.
I'll say, question mark coming in. He's really come up big in this one.
Minland was trapped. Scott dribbled it off his foot out of bounds. Nice defensive trip for the Huskies.
St. John's out of sync right now on that half-court offense. They've got to try to create something, stop Connecticut, and go down and get the fast break going with the ball in Kane's hands.
Brian Fair just keeps on firing up big for the rebound, and I mean big is Minland.
Fair's on it. One of those nights where it won't go down.
Underneath, Scott can't find any room, kicks it back to Lyson, foul on Covington Cormier. And that will be his 3rd.
third personal, 9-team foul. The line for the Redmen, Frederick Lyson, shooting 1 and 1.
That's where if you can get a steal, great. Otherwise, Lyson's out by the side out of bounds. You don't want to foul him there. Good shooter.
Freshman out of Rockville Center misses the free throw. His first miss at the line this year.
He's got good form.
Cormier leads it this time for Fair, who backs it out.
This is where you really want to get shots from people like Burrell, Danielle Marshall, if you can, coming down the stretch.
Cormier. Covington, partially blocked by Midland. Up ahead, Kane for 2. And again, it is Charles Midland, who has just had a very, very strong overall game here tonight. There's Kane with the pick. Loose ball, Kane's got it. And a traveling violation is called on Kane.
It's all right to come up with the ball on the ground, but you can't advance your position, which Kane did on the roll around there. Right to dive, roll, get the ball, but you can't keep advancing your position. Good hustle right here.
He's okay right
then
to there.
Then he rolls over to gain an advantage. That's
good.
Where he walks.
Good call. He had no pivot foot.
That's right. The roll move.
Huskies by 2 in the ball as we approach 3:45.
That's a hold by Midland, weak side. Big time.
It'll be the 3rd on Charles. Providence College at the half, a 12-point lead on Rhode Island. It'll be Rudy Johnson who steps to the free throw line.
This is tough now to step to the line when you haven't shot the ball for a while. Johnson was sparking the team early with those numbers.
Johnson was a medical redshirt last year, so he's just a freshman in terms of eligibility.
But Burrell was in early that time. He really get into the lane. Got to be careful there.
For Burrell that time, though, as he took down the miss. So the Huskies have a 3-point lead in the ball and a fresh 45 on the shot clock. Lyson a near steal.
Still a lot of time to go in this one.
Rudy Johnson had it partially blocked down on the baseline.
Midland again.
Yep. Kane skipped to Lyson. Misses the jumper. Johnson called over the back of Midland. And that is 5 on Rudy Johnson. The freshman goes to the bench. Let's take a look.
Lyson keeps that ball up nicely. Weak side action. Johnson's got a lot of ball, but there is contact from behind. And again, just the look of a play a lot of times will pick you up a foul. You're on a man's back, the arms are up.
Eric Hayward comes back in. Freshman for freshman.
Difference there is Johnson's jumping. It looks straight up. There's some contact from behind.
Midland has had a very solid night.
Look at the
continues
roll
to do so.
Coaxes that one in.
Here's Midland with the defense on the other end.
Been so active in the game.
Burrell takes down the second miss. So it's the Huskies by 2 in the ball as we approach 3 minutes to play in the game. Burrell swinging on Lyson, and Lyson is called with the grab.
The quick one on Lyson.
Yes. Yes, it was. That's 2 on Lyson. Neither coach particularly thrilled with the officiating.
shooter Scott Burrell, shooting 2 shots.
Scott Burrell will get a couple. Neither coach can really complain about the number of attempts. Four-point game. Huskies take the pressure off and fall back into, it looks like, a 2-3 zone.
They've been staying with it now, trying to cramp it up inside.
Derek Brown trying to find something on the baseline. There was nothing there, but Midland comes up with the rebound, and Midland scores and gets fouled.
Oh, he's been immense in there.
Donyell Marshall is called.
Midland really going after it there. A lot of banging. Perhaps on the back of Marshall, but he stays with it and gets it to go down. Midland and Middleton, very similar type players inside. He places that ball down.
18 points for the freshman. It's a one-point game. Fair needs some help and finds Donyell Marshall.
Ollie's got to go get the ball, point guard.
Kane denying him right now. Middleton comes up with the steal.
That's where no one really sets Connecticut into their half-court set.
St. John's being patient. 2 minutes, 20 seconds to go in the game.
In like two different games, we had some up-tempo, and it's been a chess match for the last 5 minutes.
Lyson. Back rims a three. Burrell and Ollie fight, and Connecticut comes up with it. Here's Ollie. Under 2 minutes to play now. Huskies by 1 in the ball.
Jim Calhoun wants to talk it over. He's got 2 timeouts to go. Look for Burrell coming out.
A minute 55 to go in the game. Connecticut by 1. Go in this one, Connecticut by 1 and the basketball, 65-64. Both teams with a couple of timeouts. Long since over the limit. Next tied up ball will go to the Huskies. It is Ollie, Fair, Donyell Marshall, Burrell, and Hayward on the floor for Connecticut. Chanel Scott stays on the St. John's bench. And Brian Mahoney has his defensive club out there. Kane Brown, Lamont Middleton, Lyson, and Charles Midland. There's been a one-man gang for the Redmen tonight. Donyell Marshall spinning, got into a double team, and eventually got fouled.
Nice job to get that ball up at the end, draw the 2-shot foul.
That's it for Lamont Middleton, and it gets Chanel Scott back in the game. Five points for Lamont, who came in averaging 15 an outing.
Middleton plays with a lot of intensity from start to finish in the paint area. Better make your foul shots now.
Yes, you do.
That's his first miss.
Second is good. 66-64, and here comes David Kane with about a minute and a half to go in the game. Connecticut in the 2-3 defense.
John's to bang. Connecticut's got to hold them to one shot.
Derek Brown blocked by Danielle Marshall, but Chanel Scott comes up with it. Brown, not shy, takes it again, and gets the bounce.
Whoa, tough shot.
Derek Brown ties the game at 66. Fair takes it. Rebound underneath. Burrell had a hand on it. It's loose. Scott has got it. And St. John's, with the game clock and the shot clock pretty much synced up, is going to have a chance to take a shot, win it, and get out of the building.
No timeouts left, either team. And that's exactly right. Go for the win on the road here. You want to look to penetrate under 10, Mike.
St. John's does have a timeout left, and they're going to take it right now. 20 seconds to go in the game. We are tied at 66.
Seeing a big 0 up there.
Oh, with 20 seconds to go in this game, in which we have had 15 ties, 18 lead changes, and Brian Mahoney is hoping we have one more lead change and that we're on the bus in about a half hour.
Wouldn't be shocking to see this one go into an extra session. But right now, if you're Connecticut, you've got to defend, you've got to box out, not allow an easy follow-up basket by St. John's. Try to get on and score yourself.
David Kane will bring it up against Covington Cormier. Brown to Kane, 11 seconds. Kane. Kane's going to take it, and he got fouled.
With the body.
Just under 7 seconds to go. Covington Cormier with the foul. Take a look.
Nice screen by Scott, and you'll see the contact right there. There's the foul. Good penetration by Kane, creating something.
I'm not sure you just don't defend there and let him, if he makes that shot, yeah. God bless him, you know?
Tough runner.
Yeah. Kane makes it.
Clutch foul shot. First trip to the line, steps in and nails it.
Cormier goes out, Brian Fair comes in. Brian Mahoney. 7 seconds away from a big win, and Kane makes them both. And Connecticut uses a timeout. 8 points for David Kane, but 2 big ones at the free throw line. And it's 68-66 St. John's with just under 7 seconds to go.
Got to get it to your point guards here, either Cormier or Ollie. Look to push the basketball, get it to a Burrell or a Marshall and crash, but with 6.9, enough time to dribble it up, get a good shot, hit the boards and maybe follow it. Send this thing into another session. If the good jumper opens up from 3, you can take it. But I think you got to just try to get a good high percentage shot and get the extra session.
It has been quite a start for the Huskies this season, playing Purdue and their great player Glenn Robinson in the Hall of Fame Classic, then going down and playing at North Carolina State, and then having St. John's in a league game. There's not too many teams around the country, aside from the ones that were in the preseason NIT, that can point to the first 3 games on their schedule like that.
Now you got a lot of young players that you're trying to work into the lineup. See what
11
they can.
Freshmen and sophomores on this team.
Yeah, see what they can do in live action against very tough competition. On the other hand, St. John's with the quick 3 wins, and now they get the confidence going in a position here to win on the road if Connecticut can't come up with some heroics here at the end.
And you hit right on it there, confidence. This is a very confident St. John's team that is coming to Gampo Pavilion tonight. Cormier is in, but Ted Valentine is taking him to the scorer's table. And is saying he can't come in the game. And frankly, I don't know why.
Not clear to me either, Mike, unless he...
Oh, I see. He went out on a foul shot and no time had expired on the clock. so he cannot come back in.
That's a tough break. Ollie's got a push.
Ollie. Behind the back. Ollie penetrates. Dumps it. Out from right. And we're going to overtime. Kevin Ollie, the length of the floor. And the freshman Travis Knight, who came in as an afterthought when Cormier couldn't get into the game, sends us to overtime.
Give a lot of credit, though, to Ollie right there, Mike. Look at that shift, the penetration. He makes it happen. Knight has the hands ready, drops it home. 1 second in regulation. What a penetration by Ollie. Knight off the bench has to have his hands ready. The reaction.
There's more to come from Connecticut.
First hoop always critical in overtime. Get the momentum.
And David Kane is right there. Kane's out there with Minland, Lyson, Brown, Scott.
Both teams now picking up an extra timeout. Inadvertently said they were out of them in regulation. Both teams with 2.
Near steal on Scott, who kicks it back out.
Packed in 2-3 zone by the Huskies.
It's too hot for Minland to handle inside.
Gotta have your hands ready if you're playing out there with Kane. That was a rocket pass, but catchable if the hands are up.
Ollie calls the play. Ollie, you know, just brimming with confidence right now. Danielle Marshall pops up. And the foul, I believe, is on Midland.
St. John's foul, number 34, Charles Midland, is 4.
That's number 4 on Midland. It'll put the freshman Eric Hayward at the free throw line.
Really showing some nice things tonight. Strong inside, good touch, rebounding.
One of 2 for Hayward and a 1-point UConn lead.
Connecticut inviting the long-range jumper to try to get the rebounding position.
Minland with some room in the baseline, then shut off, goes down low, and Scott gets 2.
Good interior passing that time, and Scott comes back lame.
Burrell trying to sneak around down the baseline.
Easy, 45! Easy!
Cormier with the step, finds Ollie. Nice ball fake. Good look. Cormier cut low, and Hayward wasn't ready for it.
Overpassing, though. They get close to each other that time.
Jim Calhoun looked right at Cormier and said, shoot it. 15th turnover for Connecticut. St. John's a 1-point lead in the ball. We are in overtime with 3 minutes and 10 seconds to go.
Mid-season type of game in early December by both of these teams.
Lyson misses a 3 outside. Burrell fakes the 3, has it knocked away, but Cormier was in the right spot at the right time. Burrell the dish, Danielle Marshall. 3. And the Huskies go up by 2.
St. John's won't go away in this one, though. See if they can respond.
Derek Brown, the pull-up. Doesn't get the bounce. Danielle Marshall, a strong rebound in traffic. UConn by 2 in the ball. Yes, he is. Danielle. Danielle is trying to get the ref's attention.
45, come on.
He wants a timeout. He was trying to get the referee's attention. And Danielle Marshall is heading immediately over to where the trainer is.
I thought after he made the three, Mike, that he didn't look like himself running down the floor. Still got the rebound, though.
Connecticut fans are yelling at the referee for calling the timeout. It's for one of your guys, you know? I'm not sure it just isn't an adjustment with that brace.
Might even be a cramp, Mike. They were bending the foot back, and a lot of times when you do that, sometimes your leg cramps up.
Orel pops out to Fair. Ollie penetrates, blocked by Minland. Fair, the loose ball goes out of bounds, and it'll come back to St. John's. The Redmen trailing by 2 with 93 seconds to play.
St. John's substitution, Sergio Luke.
Just stretching him out in the corner. I'm not so sure it's not a cramp, Mike.
Sergio Luke has checked into the game for St. John's, getting another outside shooter in there, down 2. Derek Brown, who looks like he wants to shoot it every time he touches it. Luke to Minland, inside Scott. Haywood from behind. The loose ball to Fair. Great play by the freshman Eric Haywood.
Playing himself a fine game.
Danielle Marshall is okay. That whatever it was, be it a cramp or whatever, they stretched him out. Now he's back up at the scorer's table.
St. John's has got a hold here. There's about a 20-second spread between the game clock and the shot clock.
Up 2 and the ball. And now they'll use a timeout. 33 seconds, give or take. 12 on the shot clock. Connecticut by 2. We'll be back. Point game, and the freshman Eric Haywood really has played well tonight.
He's been all over the place, making some great plays. The defensive block this last time, getting the possession for Connecticut.
That was the 10th block of the night for the Huskies.
St. John's in the zone right now. They need a miss. Connecticut looking to get that 4-point cushion.
5 on the shot clock. And Minland fouls Burrell. And the St. John's coaches all look at each other and say that's why they call them freshmen, I guess.
That's right.
With 3 seconds left on the shot clock, and as great a game as Charles Minland has played, he would like to have that back.
The dangerous pass. Shot clock was under 10 at that point. Really played a good game, though.
Sure did. Brian Mahoney, to his credit, is clapping his hands. And
that's a dangerous pass. Either you get it or you hold back on that one. Shot clock down to 4.
This one would really put St. John's in a hole.
St. John's has really got to push and then call a quick timeout at the end.
4-point game.
Pressure by UConn. You got to push it, St. John's.
Here comes Kane. Kane just going to keep right on going to the basket. Comes up short, gets it back, puts it back, and it's tipped home by Scott. And there St. John's gets a quick timeout with 11 seconds to go.
St. John's hanging in there with still 11 to go. They'll put the pressure on. If they don't get the steal, a quick foul, make Connecticut earn it from the stripe. Kane misses that and somehow comes up with the offensive rebound.
Connecticut defenders, I think, were a little tentative there, not wanting to give away any free points, and as a result, David Kane played a little volleyball. 11.5 seconds to play. Each team with a timeout. Connecticut still has the possession arrow. And we are long since over the limit in terms of team fouls, but this has been an excellent game for both clubs. First game of the season, Big East season, coming in December. These games are tough. Last night, Seton Hall found themselves down by 12 to Miami with about 10 minutes to go in the game before rallying. Tomorrow night, Pitt and Georgetown will open up, and then you have about 3 weeks, and if you're one of the guys who come out on the short end, that's a long time to sit there with just a loss, no wins, and think about it, whereas the other guys can really kind of go into the holidays feeling pretty good about themselves.
Yeah, with a win, and just hearing you say that, Mike, Seton Hall picked to win it this year. Tough game with Miami. Looks like it's going to be a battle again, top to bottom, as Connecticut and St. John's go at it in this one. Yeah, but clearly with a few weeks to go, you'd like to have that league win under your belt. Now, St. John's now looking for a steal with the full court press. Connecticut key now, get the inbounds, preferably to one of your backcourt people or a lob maybe to Danielle Marshall.
Burrell finds Ollie. Lee Green doesn't give the foul, and Ollie throws it away. Lee Green was trying to grab Ollie. He didn't get him. And now St. John's, with 6.7 seconds to go, has a chance. And St. John's uses their final timeout. Kevin Ollie, who made such a great play at the end of regulation. Now watch Lee Green.
He got a foul right there, but he gets away from him.
Lee Green tried to grab him and missed him, and then tried to grab him again. And then the pass is just too far for Brian Fair to handle.
At that point, even just keep dribbling it. You've got time on your side, then let him reach in over midcourt. Green, I thought, should have reached in right away, let him get away. Time to come up for St. John's and get a good one.
Yes, they do have time, there's no question. I mean, that's just pretty much, I think it was 6.9 at the end of regulation that Ollie went the length of the court and found the freshman Travis Knight for the layup to send us to overtime. It'll be up to David Kane now to do the same thing.
Be interesting to see what Connecticut does defensively, if they come out and put a lot of pressure on St. John's and deny Kane the ball. Either way, look for St. John's to try to get it to Kane, and then, as he did at the end of regulation, penetrate. And if you're Connecticut, don't foul and rebound.
Providence a 7-point lead on Rhode Island with about 13 minutes to play in their game. And we are in overtime. Derek Brown will make the inbounds pass. Kevin Ollie would like to make up for his pass.
You don't want to foul if you're Connecticut. They're going to try to deny Kane the basketball. Got to push it.
Kane's got it. Kane into the forecourt. Kane throws up a runner. No! Taken down by Marshall, and Connecticut wins. Another look.
You can see the clock. Kane with enough time to bring it all the way down. Some contact, but he's got to get it to tie this thing up. And that'll do it, but he got a good shot off, at least a good try for the goal.
Had Derek Brown for the jumper, elected to take it himself. Along with Ron Perry, this is Mike Gorman. Once again, the final score in overtime, the Huskies 74. And the Redmen of St. John's 72.
He's opening with a 74-72 victory over St. John's. The feeling and the flavor of the team much different than in previous years. Very little rest for a very young team. Brian Fair practicing his jump shot as crews picked up trash following the Huskies' win over St. John's. Quite a contrast to the minutes leading up to this moment. After an off-night shooting, he didn't miss many, but as it turned out, the Huskies didn't need the sophomore scorer.
That's definitely the best one I've ever scored. I remember that one for as long as I live, until the grandkids about it.
You can credit 3 freshmen with a large part of the victory tonight in UConn's season opener in the Big East. 3 freshmen that have not seen much action on the court. Travis Knight, Eric Hayward, and Rudy Johnson all playing a key role in the victory.
Lost in the shuffle of Knight's game-tying shot, the play of several other Husky hoopsters that are quickly and quietly turning into hoop stars. Rudy Johnson wasn't around at the end. He fouled out, but Johnson's play early kept the game close. He made a key 3 and earned his coach's praise with some great defense.
I'm not really an offensive scorer. It's just little things like taking charge, like you said, probably getting rebounds, and just pressure defense, just whatever it takes to win.
Johnson there early, Eric Hayward late, the freshman holding his own against a much bigger Chanel Scott. Hayward had 13 points and 3 rebounds to go along with 4 blocks. This one against Scott with 32 seconds left in overtime helped to seal the victory. Hayward, known for his pregame jitters, proved to himself that he can play with the big boys.
I say the opponent, so that I can play against, guys bigger than me and way more than me.
We also have to quickly mention Danielle Marshall, who had 23 points despite not even knowing that he was going to play.
That's great.
Good win for the Huskies.
You're right.